Hi everyone, Kyra here. So I was thinking a little bit about victimhood. Now, victimhood is so interesting because the only thing we have to do to get out of victimhood is to make a new choice. That's it. And I talk about choice all the time on here. But I didn't know that definition until I was reading Greg Bear's book, Real Love. That the way to get out of victimhood. And then there's also definition of victimhood. Look at what you did to me. Look at what you look at what you did to me. Look at what you didn't do for me, and it's not my fault. Those are great, because we can all find a place in our experience where we could fall into that. The trick is getting caught in it and staying there forever. In my previous practice, there was times where I would have victims that they were not going to budge. They weren't going to budge out of their victimhood. No matter what I did, no matter how I said it, no matter what choice they would go to, what we would talk about making, like even it was a choice they were deciding on, just not making that choice. And then the next week, it was the same conversation. It was the same thing. And I've had to let clients go because I realized I wasn't getting underneath it, and I wasn't going to waste their time or money or anything like that, because that doesn't sit right with me. I'm also don't attract a lot of people who stay in victimhood for very long, because I'm the type of person that take radical responsibility for myself. And I ask my clients to do the same thing, it's my way. And of course, everyone deserves to be loved and connected with, and to be able to tell their story, for sure. But that's like 1 or 2 sessions, right? That's not the length of time of, all of the time together, 6 months or something like that, telling the same story over and over again and not making any choice to change. That to me is detrimental, right? Because what we think about expands. When we focus our energy on expands, we're just going to keep getting that same thing. And if we got a ton of momentum in that direction, it is hard to shift that train, that thought pattern, unless the person makes a new choice. Once they make that new choice, it is fast. It is fast the other way. It is absolutely breathtaking to watch somebody say, oh, this is not just a no, it's a hell no. And I love this idea of getting into our power and it being a little messy. Defenselessness, sorry, that's not the right word. Powerlessness, depression, things like that. They're very low on that vibrational scale, emotional scale Abraham talks about. And it's interesting because sometimes moving up the scale might mean getting into anger. I am so determined that I am not doing this anymore, that I am mad about it. It's so good. And sometimes the drop down will go through these variations. We might, be a little bit powerless for a minute and then go back to anger, and then powerless and anger and resentment, whatever it might be. And it's so good because when we drop down, we just make a new choice. We pop back up. Now, we can't live on anger, right? We can't live there. We can't live on sorrow. We can't. At the end of the day, our life is just going to be miserable, right? So we want to consciously continue moving up, continuing to make, even though that choice may have brought us into maybe a negative feeling, supposedly negative feeling, that we then reach for the upper echelons and go, well, how can I get to a little bit of like concern or doubt? Maybe I can get to doubt. Maybe I can get to discomfort. Maybe I can get to a little bit of hopefulness, yeah, and then maybe get up there to just feeling better, getting clearer, clarity, right? And then more and more, and just reaching, just gently massaging our way through the emotional scale. And what I found is that as we do that, as we process through that thing, we can move in multiple directions at any given time. So it's nice to know that even if we are feeling bad, it doesn't mean something good isn't happening, because as we pop out of feelings of victimhood, we're able to make new choices, new decisions, and start to begin that process of believing that things are possible for us. Yeah, you know, it's interesting because whenever I look at the past, whenever I look at my clients of the past and those people that I've had to let go of, right for them, right for me, that almost anytime I've checked back in, they're the same place where they were. There was really nothing I could do. They were committed to being in that space. Now, sometimes there are other problems that go along with it. Somebody that stays in victimhood for too long can also create other ailments and issues that'll go along with continuing the cycle of victimhood. Now my body is betraying me. Now my family is betraying me. Now my friends are betraying, whatever it might be. But really underneath it all, there is just someone who is desperate to feel love. And they can't do it until they start making choices and start telling that truth of being like, yeah, I'm a total victim and I want to get out of it. Because you can't want it for them where they want it for themselves. So if you have a friend or a relative, or if it's you, just know, don't beat your head against a wall. Just know that that is where they are. And if you want to continue your relationship with them, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Or just know where you stand in it, right? It's like, I'm not their counselor, I'm not their coach, I'm not, I'm just their friend, or I'm just their daughter, and it's, or son or whatever. And it's not my job to manage the experience of their life. Because once you get tangled up in that with a victim who is not willing to see their victimhood, it becomes very difficult to release that enmeshment and get your own feet under you so that you can feel that dominant energy of who you are. And then you have to take a stand. You have to, I stand up against this victimhood. But what it really looks like is just you're denying them or betraying them, and that just adds more to that piece of victimhood there that we know. And so if you're the one that's in this victim place, please go get some love around it, get some clarity on it, do a little research. As far as, I would always recommend Real Love by Greg Bear. There's also Breaking the Chains of Victimhood. I think that's the childhood book. But get some education around victimhood and see if there are some things that you can do right now to start to shift out of it. If it has been like calamity after calamity after calamity, I get it. I had that kind of thing stuck in my energy when I was younger, and it was just bad thing after bad thing. And I told somebody, I said, yeah, I think I've had about 6 near-death experiences. I was teaching a class, and one guy goes, what's wrong? Like, are you just clumsy? And I was like, yeah, I think also I'm just trying to get out of here. Like, but there was a time where it was just, I mean, a miracle grace of all that is kept me here on this planet, and so for me, I can see where my victimhood kept me in those places, and I can also tell you It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to make a new choice. It wasn't easy to release those old relationships. It wasn't easy to change that job or whatever. It wasn't easy, to experience the physical and emotional pain that I went through during my deepest point of victimhood. However, I wouldn't trade it. And by making new choices, and they were radical, some of them were radical choices. I moved to a different state. I started a new career. I changed my name. Like radical changes, at least according to my family and friends, in order to release my victimhood. Now, everywhere you go, there you are. So even though I changed addresses and zip codes, changed my name, it didn't mean that everything was healed, but I was making choices in the direction of a healed and healthy place. And that was good enough for me. And then the next thing was shown to me, and I took that step. And the next thing came up, and I took that step. So it takes some courage to get out of victimhood. But I believe in you. And if it's you or if it's somebody you know, I believe in them too. So we take our time, move in the direction that we're wanting to move, one little step at a time. They don't have to be massive changes. Just choose you, and things are going to work out just right. I know it. Have a great day. Bye.